Pardon me, I'm looking at pictures, looking
Oh,
at
no problem.
your album covers behind you.
Yeah, I know. And I look at this wall and I go, God, I've done a lot.
Welcome to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I'm your host, Darrell Scott, and together we will dive into the lives and careers of the jazz legends who have left a rhythmic imprint on the world. Be prepared to reminisce on the highs and the lows of their musical journey and the trials that sculpted their timeless musical gems. We'll preserve the legacy of these extraordinary maestros and find inspiration in the melodies of their lives. Subscribe now and never miss a beat. Now, let's get to the show. Hi, everybody. This is Darrell Scott. I am the host of the Jazz Flyte Podcast. We have some fun today. A lovely lady on the line. She's a composer, singer, piano player. I heard something about ice cream or something that you like. She's. It's like one of those things where if you got a plate, the plate is full. You can't even tell what color the plate is. Lisa Addeo is our guest today. Lisa, how are you doing today?
Hi, Darrell. Great. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank
I don't make ice cream, but I cook. I'm good at
I. This has happened
that.
again.
But
Like, I cook. You don't
you
cook for
do?
me. I've
Oh,
never had a meal.
come on over. What do you like? What's your favorite?
I don't know. I'm trying to slim down.
Oh, well, I can
Uh,
make low cal stuff,
okay, so
low carb stuff that's
I,
flavorful.
I'm just I'm trying to get healthy, trying to be healthy, trying to eat the right thing, trying to drink water.
Sure.
I hate
I
um,
know. I know.
but
I
but,
know.
but I'm trying and stand away from my favorite beverage is tequila, but we won't go there.
Well, it's low in sugar. There's,
All
that's
right,
positive.
all right. You're one of my favorite people now. All right, let's get this show on the road. Let's talk about your beginnings. Talk about your musical beginnings and how this whole thing got started.
Oh, good question. So my mother and father had to leave town and for a funeral, like right, immediate. And so my mother asked one of her good friends to babysit us, and they had a piano there. I think I was 5 or 6, and I kept going over to the piano, and she taught me one song. And when mom and dad got home, I played that one song, and they said, play something else. So I played it backwards. And my mother finally decided to give me lessons, and I took to it like a fish to water. Loved it. And I start writing songs. I mean, when I was in my teens, and never really considered myself a songwriter, I guess, or I didn't
Hmm.
know what to do with it. Not an entertainment family. And I saw how when I would go out, my music would really touch people, and it would and they would smile. And I felt like in that moment when I was playing or singing or both, that people forgot about anything bad that was happening to
Hmm.
them. So it really made me feel good. I'm like, oh, I want to do this more. So it started like that. And every time I decided, when I was 18 or 19, going to school, when I decided, oh, I want to be something else,
Hmm.
something incredible, and an incredible offer would come in. And so people say, how did you choose music? I said, it chose me. It chased me around till I finally went, okay, I'll do this,
How did you said you played the song backwards. If
It
memory
wasn't
serves me
that hard.
correctly, you said you were 5.
Backwards. Yeah.
How does a 5-year-old learn how to play a song backwards?
I think I just heard it, and they wanted something. My family was demanding something different. So
Hmm.
I'm just like, well, what can I do? This is kind of like all the notes I know right now, and I know what it sounds like. I wonder what it would sound like backwards. I don't know. I don't know how I do any of the stuff I do. Like we said a little bit earlier, I feel like sometimes stuff is like dictated to me, and I just,
Hmm.
hear it, and then I'm like, okay, well, how does that? And I, just start monkeying around on the piano, and all of a sudden I'm like, had the same rhythm, just different notes. So it wasn't that hard.
Okay. I told you I asked Aldro if he could sing songs. I'm going to ask you to play a song backwards, but you'll have to record it for me
Oh, that
and
would
then
be
send it to me.
interesting.
I think
Okay,
that would
I
be
can
kind of
do
neat.
that.
Okay. All right. Is the
That'd be
piano?
cool. You know what? Because you can hear like the melody, which, I call it like a landscape. And then you can hear that landscape backwards. It's like
Yeah.
hiking. You go up the hill and down.
Right.
That's a really good idea. Now you got me in a whole new
Okay.
avenue.
We'll have to work on that. We'll have to keep this relationship going.
All right, perfect.
The piano. Do you play anything else? Have you played anything else?
I play really bad guitar, but I do. I stab at it because this part is easy because it's like the piano sideways.
Mm-hmm.
This part with the the frets and the neck, and I love acoustic, and the neck is wider on an acoustic, and then on electric you have the strings that are made out of metal, and it's painful. You have to build up calluses, and I don't really like that because I like feeling my keys on the piano. So
I It's a story, but I am ambidextrous. Certain
oh
things I do automatically I do left-handed. I'm right-handed. So a friend of
wow,
mine was a bass player. Don't get me wrong, I was interviewing him. And he goes, let's see what you can do with this. And he gave it to me and I turned it around and I put it left-handed. He just goes, stop. Because he was a bass player. He goes, you can't play the bass backwards and upside down.
really? Tell Jimi Hendrix that.
Jimi Hendrix, and there was a jazz guy named Wayman Tisdale
Oh
who
sure.
also did it. And
Oh,
I
I
go,
didn't know that.
I would be so confused. But yeah, if I were to play, I'd play left-handed. I do. If I think about it, I can write my name left-handed, but I have to kind of rehearse a couple of times. And then
Sure.
I'm fine. Um,
They say
I,
that's really good for the brain. Right brain, left brain.
yeah, okay. I'm still waiting to find that out if it's true or not.
Keep me posted.
Yes. What's the toughest thing about playing the piano? That's the other thing. I think it's called manual dexterity, is horrible. I can do stupid things. I can rub my stomach and pat my head.
That's good.
My hands can go in two different directions.
That's cool.
That's it. So, ex how did you come to learn this manual dexterity?
Well, I've actually read articles on that, and they say if you develop that skill before you're like 14, there's a part of the brain that is very active until you're about 12 or 13 or 14, and
Hmm.
then it's harder to learn, but it still can be acquired. I mean, we all have our will. So it was always easy for me, always easy. And I think the hardest thing about playing piano is all the different ideas I have.
Hmm.
I have probably too many of them. And I like, I just record stuff and lay it down and then walk away from it and come back and lay more stuff down, or I hear something totally different and go in another direction. So, lots of starts to many, many songs. Uh, Finishing them is always fun too. And sometimes they kind of go, oh, well, that part of that song might sound cool there. Let's try that. Change the key, whatever I need to do. And I'm like, oh, that works. You know. So
Do you try this stuff at home, and then who do you play it for? Who hears it to make you go, okay, I'm now going to record this as a song, even though it's a kind of a melting pot of notes.
I play it for myself. Then I walk away and I'll play it either on a live gig. I'll kind of like, if I'm in one song, I'll go to the next one, and the band usually follows, or if I yell out keys or whatever. So then, because it's so different when you play it in your studio and then you take it in front of a live audience, it's always been a different animal, always. I'll play it in the car, and that's a litmus test too. Does it sound good in the car? Like the other day on one of these songs I'm working on, I got in the car and I thought, oh, it's a little too slow. It needs a little kick. I did a bass line yesterday on a song and listened to it in the car last night, and I thought, oh, I don't hear that anymore. So it morphs and it changes, and then I bring it to whoever I'm working with, my producer or co-producer, and pick a bunch of songs. Like on Diamond Dress, I was working with Blake Aaron, and I needed to get him some stuff, so I wrote a bunch of stuff, and I had a few songs that I think previously written, and I sent them to him, and he said there was one that jumped out, and that was Diamond Dress. I said, really? Because it's so hard to be objective, you
Mm-hmm.
know, when you're writing it. It's like I thought he was going to pick like a couple others. He was like, oh no, this one rose to the top like that. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's go with that. So it was a
It,
fun
I
challenge.
enjoy, first of all, listening. I enjoy. Someone just sent me a message and said, "Can you listen to my new record and just let me know what you think?"
Oh,
And I volunteer for that. There's a couple other people that are. They say we have something, we'll send it to you.
I
What
love
it?
that, especially with your ear and you being, such a music aficionado and fan and all your years in radio. I
Right.
mean,
It
yeah,
is. It's kind of neat sometimes, but it kind of took me aback because we had talked one time, and all of a sudden I get this text message, "Hey, Darrell, here's my new record. Can you listen to this and let me know what you think?"
I love it.
Okay, I'm not going to say no because that I have no clue where the relationship will go, but I listened and listened to every track like 4 or 5 times. But I wonder then, do you do the same thing and decide at some point to, okay, we're going to release this. And I don't even want to talk about which one. Why is this the single and this one not the single? Why is this one the third song? Why is this song never released? I've never understood that. Because I come from a jazz world
Mhm.
where you got an album and you chose a cut and
Right.
it didn't matter. But this whole thing of, doing this thing, are you, if I listen to it and give you my critique, are you tougher on yourself then or the other way around?
I'm pretty tough on myself in many ways, and usually often. I never quite make the decision to release it as is because I always have ideas, and I want, I change stuff because I think it could be better, and sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. So if you were to listen to something and say maybe you could do this or that, I would certainly try it,
Hmm.
and then walk away from it or play it, elsewhere and say, oh, that does work, or no, I think I'm going to stick with the original. So it's, what it is, it comes down to taste. you
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
it's like, making a recipe. Do you want like a little more dill, or do you want some, peppers in it? It's kind of like my signature dish. It's my recipe that I
Right.
make up as I go along, which is exactly how I cook, really.
Hmm.
I never have a recipe I follow. And I never really make the same thing twice because I don't have a recipe, but it's always good. Everybody says it's
Right.
always, so I'm okay with that.
Okay. Now,
Mhm.
I've watched a couple of your videos, one we're going to play here in a couple of minutes, and it seems as though you seem to have fun playing. Some people are very much into their whatever they're playing, whatever the instrument they might be playing, and they seem to be so focused. There's a smile on your face. I I can tell that if you could really talk to the audience, you would. Um, and it seems like you're enjoying yourself. True?
Oh,
Not true?
definitely. I mean, I think playing is the way I'm talking to my audience. That's
Hmm.
my conversation with them. And then I listen to, you know, the whole vibe of the song, and it makes me giggle sometimes. I mean, because like,
Right?
wow, this is really fun. Oh my
Right?
God, I have so much fun sometimes. Yes, definitely. And then sometimes I'll be playing, which is, if I take like an extended solo or something, and
Hmm.
all of a sudden I look down and my hands are like, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I'm not really in charge, which is really weird. But sometimes I'm like, oh, and that sounds cool. And then I remember that approach, that those 4 bars or 6 bars or 8 bars, and then I'm like, I want to write a
Hmm.
song from that,
Right.
and then I start, and then it changes as I think about it. It's such a weird process, Darrell. I don't understand it, and I can't really describe it.
So if you've studio version of a song
Mhm.
and then you go live, do you make changes?
I think maybe on fills and stuff, melody that people know, no.
Hmm.
But maybe on fills, I try some, different things. I probably would make it longer because I always want to give my sidemen, a moment to shine.
Hmm.
Um, so no, I try to stick to, what people are familiar with.
Right.
But like I used to study with Ella Fitzgerald's accompanist, Paul T. Smith.
Wow.
He said every night, I know I listened to him when I was like in my 20s and I made my way. I said, I have to take lessons with you. And we did. And he said Ella would go out and sing the same thing every night. I said, note for note. He said, note for note, which was surprising to me because I think I like a little variety and I might hear it
Right.
a little different, or I
Mm-hmm.
might just stick with what I've got. And if I do divert from how the record is, it's not much. It's just a little, instead of going do 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 do, I might go do 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 do.
Okay.
It's nominal. So
Speaking of a video that I watched where I thought you were having a lot of fun, Diamond Dress. Everybody, you can go see it, look for it, get it. It's a really good song, and I think you'll see the fun that Lisa is having while playing it. Let's take a listen to Diamond Dress on the Jazz Flight
thank
Podcast.
you.
That's Diamond Dress from Lisa Addeo here on the Jazz Flight Podcast. Now, Lisa, you recently had, um, I don't want to make this bigger than it is. I'll just say you had a cold.
Okay.
What, and you taking care of yourself is obviously different than how I take care of myself. What do you do, especially considering that you are a vocalist, to keep your health top notch?
That's interesting because as a vocalist, your body is your instrument, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I try to eat healthy and I do eat pretty clean,
Mm-hmm.
I work out. I grew up being an athlete, I ran track and field and I played tennis. I taught swimming. I'm not a fast swimmer at all, but, as a lifeguard. So I was always into feeling fit. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really huge as we progress through life. So I do that. I work out. I do, some yoga and, keep the stretching going. Sitting in the studio for many, many hours, you've got to get up and walk. And, they say sitting is the new smoking. And it's true. And
Okay.
I gravitate toward fresh, yummy foods like fresh vegetables. And, I try to go organic, drink my water, drink my electrolytes because I work out. And I think really being healthy uh,
Mm-hmm.
is being happy, being around positive people, being around, choosing friends that support you and love you no matter how you're feeling or acting that day. So I think happiness is really a huge part of being healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Just my
It
take on it.
it is tough, and I won't get into everything, but it is tough to find those people who one share the same vision, kind of give off the same energy, and if they're not doing that, it's it's hard to get rid of them because some people just want to be along for your shine. They want to be able to stand next to you and get your flowers while you're getting them. I think that's the toughest thing, and in talking to musicians, artists, whatever you all are called, it's amazing the friendships that you all have and
Hmm.
create and nurture. Because I'm always like, how did how did you get to this person? Because he wanted to play on your album. Now you may not have ever heard of this person from a just
Hmm.
actually talk to them or anything,
Hmm.
but you just heard what they did, and you make the phone call out of the clear blue, and the next thing is it's a wonderful relationship. I think that's amazing. Um,
Yeah, it's a feeling though. I mean, it's a feeling. You feel like you are on the same level, vibratory level as somebody, or you don't.
hmm
And I think our paths go along and let's go this way for a while. Okay, well, let's go that way for a while. So I think, things change as we go along, and you really get to feel that it's a right fit. This is a good fit. Let's
Right.
try this. And I've walked on gigs before where I've never met the people ever. And it's a cold gig, and you walk on and you put your charts down, and everybody, and as I'm behind the piano or standing singing, I'm still conducting all along the way. And sometimes it just comes together. Because it has to, and everybody's focused and has to do their best, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I think that's you kind of get into a pocket. You feel the pocket, or you just go, that's not really working.
It's funny you say that because you seem to be in the short time that we've talked, kind of a low-key, easygoing, I'm not going to yell and scream at anybody person. And then there's this song with this title that goes, I bet she's more like sassified than she is the slow key person. Speaking of sassified, let's hear Sassified from Lisa Addeo on the Jazz Flyte
Perfect.
Podcast.
Thanks, Darrell.
Sassified by our guest today, Lisa Addeo, on the Jazz Flyte Podcast. Lisa has a very interesting side job. My first question, which will be, do people recognize you for your speaking voice as opposed to your singing voice as you host Siriusly Sinatra?
Well, I'm not really a host.
Okay.
I was invited to do kind of a DJ show for them. And apparently the people at Frank Sinatra Enterprises then invited me to be the voice of the channel. So I'm not known. It's not a known entity. I share the channel with another gentleman, and I get to introduce Frank and these wonderful other artists in the Great American Songbook. So I don't know if people recognize me from my voice. I don't think anybody has come up to me and said, "Hey, you're the voice on Siriusly Sinatra." But what they have said is, "Oh, I hear you now that I know you, I hear you on the radio, and that's you." So it's kind of
pressure, considering it's Sinatra and the aura that he had.
Hello, yeah, big time. I mean, when I got this job, which I didn't even realize what the magnitude of it, and I was reading the scripts that they would send me, I must have recorded over and over and over. And to say, I mean, it gave me chills to say things like, before Elvis and the Beatles, there was Frank, the chairman of the board, old Blue Eyes. I was like, I mean, I have chills right now saying that, because I admire him so much, and his musicality and his taste and his daring to try things, and his ease with which he sang and approached songs, and just a pro. In fact, I wanted to go to Capitol Studios and record in Studio A, which I did. And there's one of this one over here that I'm pointing to in the red dress. It's called A Kind of Daydream. I mean, that's all about the Great American Songbook. And I did 5 songs in that studio that he also did in the same studio. It was so thrilling. And I sang into his vintage microphone, which was daunting and a little bit intimidating. But once I got to the flow, it was perfect. And I got this special gift because I did a song called Sleep Warm, written by Alan and Marilyn Bergman. And I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if you can see that somebody made this for me, and you can't read it. But you can see it's the old Capitol.
Yeah.
Old Capitol
record label. Right.
And I got this note from Alan and Marilyn Bergman, and it says, it's on their note cards, and it said, "Dear Lisa." Lisa, they said my name. I'm like, oh my God. Thank you for singing our song so beautifully. May you always sleep warm. All the best, Alan and Marilyn.
Nice.
I was just like, I mean, they've written so much stuff and so much stuff for Mr. Sinatra, and it was just a thrill. So this, I do a lot of different kinds of music, but this genre, the melodies are beautiful. The lyrics are unforgettable. They can stand alone as a poem, and the songs themselves, the musical compositions can stand alone as, an instrumental. So it's it's been a thrill, Darrell. I'm telling you, just a thrill.
So there are still some musical things that make you have a loss for words. You know what I mean? It's like it's great you do what you do. Your music is wonderful, but there are still things that you step back and kind of go, whoa, wait a minute. I'm not sure if I'm kind of ready, but I'm so happy that you included me. And then the performance part of it is I have to step up my performance. I have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So as fun as it seems, it's got to be some anxiety that goes along with that.
Well, yeah, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and
Hmm.
um, for me, it's always been thinking about something is worse than actually doing it.
Hmm.
It's, taking that first step. So when I think I need to work on some songs right now, it's like, I'll procrastinate or
Hmm.
I'll feel overwhelmed. And as far as people liking and including me on things, I'm just thrilled that,
Hmm.
this response to Diamond Dress and my other singles, High Heels and Sassified, and I was like, wow, people must like this. So yeah, let's do more of that.
Right.
And that's where the fun part comes in. It's inspiring and it's energizing to have people, I get these great notes from people, and especially when they say things like, wow, this brightened my day. This has got some bop
Hmm.
to it and it's energized me. And music can do that for me too, not my own, but also my fellow artists.
Hmm.
It's like, wow, that's really something. And it's uplifting, I guess is the word.
So speaking of other artists, this just came to me. If you could go to a concert and you produce the show, so to speak, and you get to choose whatever musicians you want. If I could get you front row center seats, Carnegie Hall, wherever, outdoor Hollywood Bowl, whatever, who would you see? Who would you invite to perform in front of you?
Okay. Do they all have to be alive? Could it be
No,
dead or
they don't.
alive?
Nope, doesn't matter.
Wow.
No.
Oscar Peterson, Frank Sinatra, Mariah Carey, um, Whitney. Um, let me think. Oh, there's so many of them. Brian Culbertson for sure, Boney James for sure. Although I've seen Boney, he's fabulous. Um, uh, Dave Koz, um, Miles, Miles Davis. Holy cow. Maynard Ferguson.
Hmm.
Um, let me think. Oh, that's hard. And then it would be a really long concert. It would be like all weekend. You know? I could go on and on and on. Bill Evans. Hello, you know. Um, Chet Baker. I was doing a movie in LA, and there was a famous actor on there, and I'd never quite heard of Chet Baker's whole catalog. I
Hmm.
knew I
Right.
knew he sang, I knew he, blew trumpet. And this man came to the shoot the next day and gave me a CD. I listened to that sucker night and day, It was amazing. Who else? Probably I don't know. That's a great question. There's so many of them.
It is, and it was years and years ago. Um, I was interviewing somebody.
Hmm.
I'd see his face, and his wife was with him. And he goes, "I got a question for you." I go, "What is it?" He goes, "You're on an island. You had unlimited batteries, whatever. You have power, whatever." He says, "You get to take 10 CDs, 10 albums. Doesn't matter.
Only 10, only
Only
10.
10." And there are times, and I've asked this question to a bunch of people. There are times that people can rattle off like the first four, and then it's like a giant firewall goes up in front of them, and they're stuck on four, and then can you take greatest hits? Yeah, but there's a song on this album that it's not on the greatest hits album, but it's just one of those songs off an album that you think is really good. There was a guy years and years ago, Gene Dunlap. He was a drummer for Earl Clue.
Oh,
Puts
wow.
out an album.
There's another one.
Before You Break My Heart, I believe was the song.
Hmm.
I have it because I was the music director of the station. I'd sit at home on Saturdays and Sundays, and I would just listen to new music, and I couldn't get past that song. So you get stuck. It is not songs. Songs is even rougher because I go from Grover Washington Jr. is one of my favorite guys,
Oh,
but
man. I forgot about him.
which song do I pick? David Sanborn's one of my favorite guys. Which
Hmm.
song do I pick? And then you have those oddball people like Gene Dunlap. And I this is the thing I would want everybody to do. And I don't know if everybody has the music collection that I do. I got music on three walls.
Wow.
Albums in front of me, CDs to the left of me, CDs to the right of me, Road the
Here I
600.
am stuck in the middle with you. Yeah, I got
But
you.
if I think of something, I play it, which while that song is playing, I think of something else.
Hmm.
And then the next thing
Hmm.
you know, the floor of this room is nothing but album covers. And then I'm mad because I got to put them all back because everything is in, except for those four over there, which I've not put back, is in alphabetical order. And I don't care how
Wow.
old you are, you're going to forget that A becomes before B, and I'm just lost. Um, this is play. I really like this. You are the one thing about this show is I get to talk to people, first of all, who are musicians, who are entertainers, who are
Hmm.
talented, who all share a common bond, which is music, but how they get to that music is so different.
I'd
You
love
know,
to hear all those,
it is, and
stories.
there are some have concerns, some have different ways to do things,
Hmm.
and I'll just say this: the streaming thing is a nightmare. I'll say it that way, and I don't know how to fix it. I offer suggestions. I offer talking to Nathan East. He was going to Germany or somewhere, and I go, and you should probably do this. I'm sure when you're not playing, you're out sightseeing or something like that. Why not take a camera, take pictures, make a coffee table book, and just put your pictures in there? I, I'm
Oh,
I'm telling you, it would. I think it would make a difference. I think it would sell. So don't get me wrong. And when I was doing Nathan, we did a father and son thing with he and his son, and his son is like, Dad, that's a great idea. We need to
it's a
do that.
great idea. I mean, I have so much content on Instagram and Facebook. I could
Right,
probably do that now.
right. So
That's
it's another
fun. That's a
vehicle,
fun idea, Darrell.
right?
Yeah.
But just to I, I don't know. It's just me because I think of my music taste is R&B, jazz, some pop.
Hmm.
Um, I have some jazz stuff that probably nobody's heard of. There's everybody knows group War.
Sure.
They had a song called "The World Is a Ghetto," very
Yeah.
dark, very moody song. Fine. I don't know. 5, 6 years later, they released "The World Is a Ghetto 2." It's on the Music Band 2 album. It's a green album.
I'll have to check that out.
It is nothing like the first one. Nothing.
Oh, how interesting.
It
How
is.
how many years were they apart?
I think maybe 6 or 7.
You change as an artist. I mean, things
And,
you morph and you grow.
and that's the other thing. How
Mhm.
how have you morphed and grown over the years?
Well, even listen to this, which is back on the wall somewhere,
Hmm.
to now. I mean, that was not that long ago, and I listened to it, and and I think, wow, I've really grown musically. So how have I grown? I think my tastes change.
Hmm.
I think it's it's kind of homogenous to life. You start wearing different shoes or different blouses or whatever, and you used to like red, now it's like you like pink, or I think it just changes. And I think we were talking about it before. It's like it comes down to taste.
Right.
What do you like now?
Hmm.
you know Not
Hmm.
that you get tired of something that you've done, but it's just I don't know, growing and maturing, and always wanting something new. I always want something new.
Yeah.
I always want something to sound like I've never created it before, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that maturing thing I'm still trying to work on because
I don't ever want to grow up.
Yeah, really, I get that. So before we go,
good. Yes.
what are you currently working on? What's new? What can we expect?
Oh, I have a new single coming out in October, probably end of October.
Okay.
And I have like probably 74 titles, and I'm not sure which one I'm going to pick, but I have to wait till the song is kind of matured, and then I can figure it out.
Okay. So. Lastly, how can our listeners follow your career? Do you have a social media presence? Are you Instagram? Are you Facebook?
Oh, I do. I'm on YouTube as Lisa Addeo, Lisa Addeo Music, Instagram, Lisa Addeo Music, Facebook. I have my website, lisaaddeo.com. What else? Twitter, everywhere. So all the places where music is heard, and people can visit me, and you can send me. Actually, you can contact me off my website. I think there's a contact button. So, and it's wonderful. I love getting notes. So I'd love to hear from you guys.
Okay, we will do that. We will, whatever you get out new, let us know. We'll put it on our social media, and all the folks will love it. This has been interesting. I have thoroughly enjoyed getting to know you.
Me too, Darrell. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it so much.
And we will do whatever we can. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap it up this time, maybe. Lisa and I are probably going to continue to talk, but y'all don't
definitely. We have to.
Thank you for listening to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. We will talk to you next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I hope you enjoy the stories and soulful melodies that grew through the doors of time. If you want to stay connected with the latest updates and episodes, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Until next time, I'm Darrell Scott.